Today I want to talk about my experience with the $60 a month plant subscription service from the online retailer called the Sill. And as you can see, I have all 3 plants sitting around me, and all of them were delivered right to my doorstep in a cardboard box. So I started my subscription last October, and my first houseplant ever was delivered to my doorstep in early November. The plant came in a tall and slender box, and one of the first things that I fished out from the box was the paperwork that describes the unpacking process, and also a reminder to access the plant care instructions that were available online. More on that in a bit. Inside the box, the entire plant was wrapped with packing paper, and the top of the nursing pot had a layer of wood shavings that helped prevent the soil from spilling all over the box when the package was in transit. The wood shavings were pretty effective, but some of the soil did end up pooling in the box, but it was easy enough to just put it back in the pot after the fact. And since this plant is rather tall, it also came with a bamboo stick that prevents the stem from bending. As for the 7-inch ceramic planter, it came with bubble wrap all around it to protect it from breaking. And for the most part, the plant arrived in a healthy and intact state. I did lose a couple of leaves, but I was fairly happy with the unboxing experience so far. And the same can be said about the 2 other deliveries that I received in December and January. The plants arrived intact, but specifically for the 3rd plant that I received, one of the leaves looked a little bit beaten up on the edges. I didn't do anything about that, and I accepted the state of it as is, as it gives the plant a little bit more of a character to it. And you know, one thing about the 3 unboxings that I did is that it never once occurred to me to unbox the plants outside of my apartment, because all 3 unboxings resulted in a little cleanup after the fact. But anyway, fast forward to 5 months after receiving my first ever houseplant. The good news, as you can see, is that all 3 of my plants here are still alive. They're not necessarily in the healthiest state, but I am determined and motivated to keep them alive for a long time. In total, I paid $222.32, including taxes and fees for these 3 plants, plus their respective ceramic planters, and a bag each of organic potting mix and organic lava rocks. And one thing to note here about the Sill's plant subscription service is that you can't cancel it until you receive 3 plant deliveries. That's why I have 3 plants sitting around me. Currently, I haven't cancelled my subscription as I'm still deciding whether I want to expand this hobby of houseplants, so I have it paused for the time being. And that's one of my gripes with the subscription service. It isn't very flexible. Like, I would like to have an option to space out the deliveries to be every 3 months or every other month. Because as someone that literally knows nothing about houseplants, the 3 consecutive months felt like a little bit too fast because of how slow the plants grow. It feels like I'm not even used to taking care of my first plant, and then the 2nd plant gets delivered, and then I gotta focus my attention to that 2nd plant, and it becomes very hard to take care of both the plants there. I'm sure I probably could have worked something out with their customer support, but it would have been nice to see the option available when I was starting out my subscription. Adding to that, I also wish that they allowed me to switch the planter color so that I can have a bit more variety. Like, all of them came with this cream color that I started my subscription with, because I feel like if I did choose to continue this subscription long term, it's gonna look a little bit dull having the same planter color coming with each subscription there. Furthermore, I find it really weird that the only place that they tell me what plant type that I have received in my subscription is in the packing slip that comes with the box. It's not listed in my online account, nor do they denote the plant type in my email receipt. And as someone that knows nothing about houseplants, if I lost that plant slip, I would have not known what plant this would be. And also, it would have been nice to receive personalized information about my plants, especially given that the Sill is very much into email marketing, where I receive a newsletter from them every 2 to 3 days ever since I started my subscription. But switching gears now to talking about how I actually took care of these plants in these past few months. For the most part, I followed the plant care instructions that the Sill provided on their website, and also used this app called Greg that was recommended by the Sill. The app creates a personalized schedule tailored based on the information that I provide, like where I'm putting the plant, and whether or not it will be getting direct sunlight. More importantly is that it reminds me when to water my plants, and also denotes the exact amount of water that I should be watering. Because frankly speaking, I don't know how much water is too much or too little for my plants here. But one thing I want to point out here is that I did have a minor hiccup with this 2nd plant here in particular. As you can see, the side of the plant here, one side of the plant, does not have any leaves at all. This happened because the leaves were drying out, and initially I thought this plant was just getting used to the new environment, but the leaves started dying. So I looked up online and found that this plant type requires a high humidity, which my apartment environment does not provide because it's winter time and Arizona is known for its low humidity air. At that point, I was really puzzled why the plant care instructions provided by the Sill never indicated that this plant type requires a high humidity environment. After learning about that, I read a few articles about how to increase humidity in my apartment, And one of the top recommendations was to get a mister, and I got one in Amazon that supposedly helps increase the humidity surrounding the plant. But long story short, I got a little carried away and misted a little too much water, and that caused water to pool on the leaves, that caused some of the leaves to wilt. That happened very quickly, and I was generally at that point thought the plant was going to die. Then I went on to get a humidifier, and it kind of worked for a few days, but the humidifier wasn't playing nice with my air purifier because I was filling it up with tap water as I didn't want to spend money on filling it up with distilled water. So I ended up scrapping that idea. Eventually what I did was to put it in my bathroom, and that provided the humidity that it needed to grow these new leaves. So whenever I'm taking a shower, the bathroom humidity increases. And I honestly don't know why I didn't do this in the first place. It was a free and easy option. But this whole debacle was pretty exciting because seeing the new leaves came out or emerging from the stem was a pretty exciting moment and gave me a huge mental boost in terms of taking care of these plants. Alright, the last bit I want to touch upon is whether or not this subscription service by the Sill is a good deal or not. I think it's great if you're like me and you want a relatively frictionless way to get into this hobby of houseplants without needing to do any kind of prerequisite research, because I can tell you that up until receiving my third plant, I did not look up any articles or videos about how to take care of these plants other than referencing the care guide provided by the Sill and the watering schedule from the Greg app. Conversely, I could have very well just gone to a local nursery to pick out the plants, and that would have been significantly cheaper. But there's something about getting a random plant in the mail that excites me a lot. And a counterpoint to that is that online shopping is more convenient in a sense there, and I really fell in love with the aesthetics that the Sill had on their website in terms of the photos that they placed on. It looked really, really nice. But overall, I think the Sill kept their promise, and the plants that I received were rather easy to maintain, albeit the care instructions are a bit incomplete in my opinion. Throughout the months, I have been pretty laid back in taking care of these plants, and I only spend about 10 minutes every week to water and just stare at the plants. And I think the hardest thing that I've done so far is to repot my first plant. That was pretty challenging in my opinion. I hope you found this review helpful. Let me know down in the comments section if you have any questions about the Sill or this subscription service. But yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button, and I'll be sure to get you more videos about tech and lifestyle. And I hope to see you very soon in the next video.